Pfizer's Russia statement was the latest, but not the last example of how communications and leadership are not only entwined, but inseparable. What a company says is synonymous with what it is and what it believes. Taking carefully considered, courageous positions is the new standard. Whether the issue is geopolitics, rising inequality, or climate change, business leaders are expected to have a view. Employees, consumers, regulators, investors, the media, governance experts, and our children are watching. Because of this increased scrutiny and the elevated stakes, communications can no longer be considered a soft skill. The ability to lead and drive the public conversation is a rock-hard competency. It tests one's abilities as much as any professional discipline, maybe more so, in a time when public trust in business, government, and media is at an all-time low. Much of what passes as civil discourse has plummeted into useless and degrading attacks. Families fight over politics at the holiday dinner table. Neighbor is pitted against neighbor over social issues. We're living in a depersonalized, digital world where faceless opponents can anonymously smear, influence, stalk, and ghost us. The erosion of civility is heartbreaking to witness, but not irreversible. I'm convinced that with the right mindset, we can build communications muscles that help us maintain and expand the traditions of storytelling, narration, dialogue, and constructive debate. Common ground and shared ambitions are still possible. As a society and as individuals, we can cut through the noise and clutter to open minds, move hearts, and shift the dialogue in a positive direction. In fact, we must, and that's why I'm writing this book. How I got here. The seeds of my personal mission of civility, constructive engagement, and leadership were planted by my parents. My folks were strict, especially when it came to having good manners. From a young age, I was taught to introduce myself by making eye contact, using a clear voice, and offering a firm handshake. As a girl, I wanted to either be an investigative journalist or mayor of my hometown, St. Louis, Missouri. While neither of those noble professions panned out, I'm fortunate to have found a career in corporate affairs that lets me live out those early interests. My days are full of crafting narratives, analyzing politics, and advocating for policies. Now I'm 60, and I've become a cheerleader for my profession. I assure you that my success was far from guaranteed. My teachers would have voted me least likely to succeed. I struggled, made missteps, and misread signposts along the way. In hindsight, these were rookie mistakes many of us make. Let's face it, we all stumble in professional potholes. I hope this book bolsters your resiliency, allowing you to brush off the inevitable scrapes and bruises with the salve of advice, wisdom, and solutions offered in these chapters. I share both triumphant and humiliating moments in this book. Some anecdotes are from growing up in an ambitious family, and many of the principles in this book were formed and are based on what I learned from my parents. When I left for college, my father handed me an envelope with a heartfelt letter written on yellow legal pad paper. It said, "Your reputation is your most precious asset." Dad was right about that. My father was a mentor and a role model. Originally a lawyer, he became the primary volunteer fundraiser for Thomas Eagleton, who was running for the U.S. Senate in 1968. Eagleton's victory turned my dad into a kingmaker, and our household into a hub of political candidates and elected officials seeking support. My brother Billy and I were schlepped to big Democratic conferences and national conventions.